Hey everybody, it's Kneecap here, and in this video we have some more Retribution Paladin raid testing. This time we're going to have Sikran on Heroic, one of the early bosses in the raid. This fight does not have a ton of mechanics, so we won't spend too much time breaking down the fight, but we will look at a little bit, and of course we will talk about, specifically how some things might affect Retribution Paladins as we go through here. So again, this is one of the very early bosses. You're not going to have too many mechanics here. It's a pure single target fight. So you're going to expect pure single target here. There's no little ads. There's no big ads. There's no intermission. This is just kind of a very straightforward fight. So right here, we can pause it for one of the mechanics. So this is a kind of like a bleed thing, as you can probably guess from it. What this is going to do, it's going to charge 3 or 4. I think it might increase players, or maybe because of our raid size was 19. But 3 or 4 players, and you're going to want to spread this out somewhat. Now, we are being very safe with this. Hopefully, you're able to stay a little bit closer to boss when we actually do this for real, because this is definitely annoying mechanics. You have to run out with it, and the first one happens during Bloodlust or whatever, as you're going to see here. So that's going to kind of hurt my DPS quite a bit on this pull, but yeah, you just spread it out, and then that's going to leave a little image afterwards, and these images are going to need to be dealt with as well. So we'll go ahead and see this. We're all going to try to spread out. I tried to make a little triangle there. And then, so now you can see down here in the, right here above my camera, you can see an image, and then there's actually two, one right here you can see as well, and there's one behind my camera. And we're going to have to deal with these images as well, because they're going to stack up, and the boss can destroy all of them at once, which will do a lot of damage. And or you can destroy them a few at a time and take a lot less damage on that big blow up thing there. So here we're going to just keep single targeting, and we're just going to wait. As you can see, there's not a lot going on here, so I had to run out, obviously. So me and a couple other people had to do mechanics, but everyone else has pretty much got to sit there. Now, this is just a rain of arrows. This is literally just dodge the swirlies on the floor. Not anything difficult there. And we're gonna go through. And I think I don't think it shows the arrows on the other people, unless I just missed it. Let me see. Let's look at this again here, because they're gonna see people run out there, I'm sure. So here's the rain of arrows, and at some point there's gonna be people running out there. Oh, right there, you see the blue arrow. So right here is the second part of the mechanic. So when you have this, you want to go run out and destroy these images. Now, destroying them is going to do some damage as well, but it's better than destroying all of them that have accumulated throughout the phase, or throughout the, kind of phase. Every 100 energy is a phase, basically. It's better to destroy them this way than to just take them all at once. So if you have a blue arrow, you then run it out to where the images were and take those out. It's worth noting too that so when you destroy them, you're going to see these blue puddles form. So there's one like in the raid there as well, and so you can move the boss around. Now, normally, you wouldn't necessarily have one in the middle like that, and I think this fight might end up being on mythic difficulty. Again, here on the second one, I get it once again. On mythic difficulty, it may end up being like a DPS check, depending on how it's tuned. It's going to be not going to be super tuned because it's a early boss, but the stuff can fill the room in theory. So maybe on mythic level, it'll be a little bit of a harder DPS check when you first get into the raid before you overgear it or whatever. So we'll see on that in the future. But yeah, so here I have to run out once again, unfortunately. Leave my little image there. And on mythic difficulty as well, you do have to spread them out a little bit. Here on heroic, you can stack them up, pretty much be fine. Obviously we have a big gap in between ours. That doesn't necessarily need to be the case. They're all trying to go to different ones. We leave one. It's not a huge deal. Letting the boss destroy one or two on their own might actually be a good thing, at least on heroic difficulty. I don't know about mythic. So here comes that big ability. Barely take any damage from it. It's fine. Very, very easy there. So, and then we're just going to repeat this over and over again. Someone's going to get the red markers. We're going to get out. We're going to destroy them with the blue arrows. We're going to run out of the little arrows on the little swirlies on the ground. So here I finally don't get it. And then you'll see me catch up on the damage meter here when we talk strictly Ret Paladin stuff, since I stopped getting the mechanic every single time and having to run out. But overall, this is a single target fight. I think this is a fine fight for Ret. Again, the only issue is, and it's just RNG, right? Is if you get, the run out on Bloodlust on your opener, that can be a little bit rough sometimes. For polls where I didn't give that, we only took a few polls to do this. It's an early boss, even though it's on heroic. It was pretty easy. I think like one poll I didn't get the very first run out, and I was either near or at the top of the meters on that. So as far as Retribution Paladin stuff goes, I think single target wise we're pretty much fine. I've been speculating like top 3 or top 5 as far as single target goes, and anything I seen today didn't really change that. Obviously this fight does prefer ranged, as far as you never have to run so far out that you can't DPS at all. Obviously if you can DPS while you move, that's even better for a ranged. It's a little bit worse for melee since we have to run out. But again, I think there's ways to do this where you don't have to run out quite as far as what I'm running out, and that'll make quite a big difference in my opinion. So I don't think this will be an issue fight or anything like that. Just slightly more annoying for melee than ranged, and just a straight single target fight. As far as spec goes, I'm Templar with we can look at the spec actually in the game here in a moment. Here we can fast forward here. We're just going to do the same thing over and over again. You can see the room's not even close to being full. That's why I say if it's tuned to a certain degree, then maybe on Mythic again, what could make this fight cool, because this fight, let's be completely clear, this fight is so far the most underwhelming fight that I've seen. As far as there's nothing really epic about it. It's very few mechanics, and all the mechanics are pretty easy and straightforward. And I like that mechanics are straightforward, don't get me wrong. But what could make the fight cool is if, the first time you kill it, right, the room is almost completely full and you have one little spot to sit in. That could potentially make the fight cool, at least for the first time you kill it. And luckily, as you kill it, this will be a fight that doesn't magically get harder as you get more gear or whatever. It's actually just going to get easier and easier and easier, and it'll just be a fight that you can just plow through as long as you don't have that DPS check failure or whatever. So we can go into the game and we can look how I personally spec for this. I have my other spec on now from the other boss. So where did I have these? I think I had one there, and we're on Rush of Light. There we go. So I was just spec like this. This is a very similar to how you would spec on retail for a single target fight. I'm Templar with all the Templar stuff. Nothing special here. You could probably even get rid of Penitence perhaps for this if you wanted to, but there's no real other place to put the points anyways. That would make a huge difference compared to that. So yeah, this is just a very basic single target fight, very basic single target setup for Paladins. I do think Templar is probably the way to go based on the way I tested for straight single target like this. And so that'll probably be played. Now, what's nice about this raid is I think some fights will be Templar, some fights will be Herald, some fights will be single target, some fights will be more of an AoE or hybrid spec. So the other fight we tested today, I ran Judge, Jury, Executioner for that fight, at least to test it out. And it wouldn't surprise me if that is run on that fight when we actually go live as well into the War Within. So yeah. Overall, probably the least or the most underwhelming fight that we've done so far, at least for me. But very easy, very single targety, and potential for coolness if it's tuned in a way where you have to like beat the DPS check of the room filling up, basically, right? So it's kind of one of those fights. It actually reminds me of the last thing I'll say is just the way it works. It's actually much easier than this fight, but it reminded me of in Sepulchre, I want to say it is. Was it Zymox? Oh, my game froze. No, it wasn't Zymox. It wasn't Luhuvum. Which one was it? The Sagui, whatever this one was. The sausage, they always called it. It kind of reminded me of a little bit of this fight, if I'm being completely honest. Much easier than this fight. Not the same mechanics, but just for some reason that it just kind of reminded me of that fight. I thought I'd point that out as well. So again, not too much else to say here. That'll be it for this one. As always, I do ask you to please subscribe to the channel. If you're already a subscriber, I encourage you to check out the Patreon. And other than that, everybody, have a good one.